The world is changing, people are getting vaccinated, and for better or for worse, things are kind of returning back to normal. And that means dating for some is back on. But dating comes with many dangers. Not just creeps, but sometimes legitimate life-threatening situations. Even on the lighter side of things, apps like Tinder and Bumble are incredibly invasive applications that do their best to dig into everything happening on your phone. And some people don't quite know how to date safely.
But Henry, who dates online?
A lot of people do.
If you want to be safe and private, just don't date online.
Well, some people want to try anyway. To put it bluntly, if you're not dating or think the entire premise of this video is stupid, then leave. But for those of you who want to learn the aspects of dating safely in the 21st century, get ready for a journey. Now, whether you're speed dating, using Tinder, or asking out a coworker, the first steps are almost always the same, and it's constructing your walls. First, you need boundaries for your walls before you start building. There are 4 questions you need to answer. There are no correct answers, and this is all a personal process. First, what are your concerns? Are you concerned about privacy, the security of your information, your safety when you go on a date? Really think about what some of your concerns are. This is a simplified method of threat modeling, where you describe what exactly you're trying to protect. Writing out your concerns can really help you organize your thoughts. The second question gets a bit more specific. What do you want to share publicly to the world? Some people feel comfortable sharing their home address with strangers, which I do not recommend, and some people may be afraid to share their last name right away. Most of you will likely fall in the middle, which means you don't want to share things like your home address and personal number with a stranger. Third, ask yourself the same question, but in the context of the real world. If you were to meet someone tomorrow, or you already knew this individual, you may answer quite a bit differently on what you're willing to share than if you're about to meet someone you've only met for the first time. The fourth and final question is, when and where will you reveal more information about yourself? In other words, when is it safe to start dropping your guard? This is a really personal question. Some people think after 3 dates they can drop most of their guards, and some people may think 3 years. This is all a personal journey, and we hope that adding a system like what we're giving you will help you execute it. Now, you have all this information, and it's time to put up and construct your walls. Based on your answers to these questions, you'll get a much better idea of what needs to be done and how to conduct your dating. There are an infinite number of ways you could have answered the questions, which will impact how your walls are put up, but here are some of the main steps you'll see most often. First, get yourself a phone number just for dating. We highly recommend a virtual number using a service like MySudo, Hushed, or if you're stuck with a Google account, Google offers Google Voice as an option for free. MySudo is our most recommended option overall for most people. This is not only great for giving out to people freely without worry, but it also allows you to register for any apps or dating websites with a number that's not yours. Your dating life can very comfortably live without needing to sacrifice your main personal phone number that's used for friends and family. Second, this is becoming less needed in the 21st century, but getting yourself an email just for dating is a great thing to have. You can create an entirely new email account. We recommend looking at services that respect your privacy, like Proton Mail and Tutanota. We have a whole video with other recommendations. Check that out, it'll also be in the description. Alternatively, you can sign up for a free service like Simple Login that lets you create an alias email just used for dating. It's really awesome. We have another video breaking down Simple Login more thoroughly. Similar to the phone number, these email options allow you to comfortably communicate with others without needing to sacrifice the safety of your normal email address. Another likely third step is if you are paying for something like Tinder Gold or the dating site is a paid service, you can sign up for a service like privacy.com that generates cards completely detached from your personal identity. This is good to protect your bank and card information from hackers, with the added benefit of protecting you from identity theft. From here, it's really open-ended. If one of your concerns was keeping your children safe, you may have needed to make sure none of the photos you uploaded contained any identifiable information, like maybe the school they attended. Maybe you want your neighborhood to be kept hidden. This is all just really personal, but you should know there's almost always a way to make something happen if you stick to your boundaries and develop them really well, which kind of leads us to our final step. You gotta hold yourself to it. It doesn't matter how many precautions you take if you crack at the sign of pressure. The purpose of developing a wall is to filter out what is and isn't allowed in. You have every right to not disclose what you consider private information to complete strangers. We recommend letting people know why you don't want to share something so you don't come across as suspicious. But seriously, there's nothing wrong with valuing yourself and the things you want to keep safe. whether it's a child, your own safety, your privacy, or anything else you care about. Let's take a look at Kevin. Kevin doesn't want to share his phone number and home address with strangers and doesn't appreciate how invasive apps like Tinder can be. He doesn't, however, mind his photos being uploaded and viewed by people. So Kevin gets himself a Tinder account with his virtual dating number and a simple login alias email, then pays for Tinder Gold using a service like privacy.com. He sees you can connect your Instagram and Spotify accounts, but decides not to, as he doesn't appreciate the privacy practices of any of these services and doesn't want them easily connected. He still builds his sexy profile, he still swipes on other people, and he can still meet up with people, and he's overall really happy with what he's done, but it still fits his threat model and what he's comfortable with, which is what we are shooting for here as a net win. Dating does have privacy compromises, but if you're operating within your own threat model, that's all we're really asking for. A few more formal tips before we head into different dating methods. First, don't forget physical safety. You should always meet people in public, let a friend know the information about where you're meeting beforehand, and take several other precautions outlined in the sources below. Second, we are huge proponents of keeping sensitive conversations, even with fun pictures, private and secure. Do not send sensitive messages inside your apps or websites, and please transition your conversations to safer places. We strongly recommend Signal to the overwhelming majority of people, though even iMessage and other end-to-end encrypted platforms are likely still better than whatever your dating program is going to offer you. Third, if you are online dating and don't want an invasive application collecting everything on your phone or a website on your computer collecting unnecessary information about you, we recommend the following tips. You can always use a spare old phone. Consider using that old phone for just your dating apps. You can use these dating apps inside their own user account. This will only work on some Android devices that support it. You can keep dating websites inside their own web browser. We recommend Brave with its own profile created for just your dating websites if you use any, though there are many other browsers you can use for similar functionality. To summarize where we are so far, you should now have answered your key questions and developed what precautions you hope to take, and ideally already started executing these boundaries before you begin dating. Now, let's cover the pros and cons of different dating methods, because not everyone's doing online dating, so that you can find your dreamy counterpart safely. Dating online pros. It's convenient, right? You can search through dozens, if not hundreds of people in a day, and you can set very specific criteria. It's also very easy to control what information is shared with other people. You can see your profile and what other people see about you. The cons for online dating. It's difficult to control information collected by apps and websites, like your IP address and other private data, without taking several other precautions. There's also a massive amount of friction between the virtual and real world, which involves a lot of necessary trust with someone before you see them. We recommend reading those safety tips and guidelines linked below on how to do initial meetups, like meeting and staying in public areas. Now, dating in real life. Pros. Normally, there's a higher degree of trust as you're able to interact with someone right away, though this is not an excuse to completely trust the individual. We still recommend taking those real-life precautions. It also completely bypasses the internet, keeping third parties out of your conversations and information. Some cons. It's less convenient. Like, you can't just go around and see dozens of people in a day, most likely, and just find out everything to know about them. It's also not for everyone, especially the less than charismatic audience or more of the introverts who don't even want to attempt this. Now, those are the two main ones, but there are many other methods of dating, like maybe someone you already know, there's speed dating and other meetups, and there will likely be many more new things to come as time goes on. However, most of the pros and cons outlined between online and IRL apply pretty well to others with some minor adjustments. The takeaway is the overall process and the planning is similar regardless of what dating method you choose, but there can be minor differences you can use to polish up your walls. But ultimately, getting your walls established is the most important thing and is the most universal aspect no matter what dating method you choose. With all of that said, you've now constructed your walls and chosen the path forward with your dating adventure. The only thing you have to do from here is make sure your walls stay standing. Dating can be a lot of fun, but it can also be stressful or even sometimes dangerous. We hope that all of these tips and processes outlined will allow you to formulate a plan that makes the journey better and safer. And if you're currently dating, or about to, or just found this video interesting, leave us a comment below so we can see some of your stories and what you've implemented. One final thing, a lot of the concepts covered in this video are more thoroughly broken down in some of our other content. People searching websites allow anyone to look up anything about anyone else they know with just a first and last name, and we recently reviewed a service that claimed to delete all this information, something that might actually be useful to you before you start dating. We have a Become Anonymous guide, which walks you through most aspects of anonymity in both the digital and real world, and if you truly want the ultimate step-by-step experience, we have a course, Go Incognito, created for all experience levels to reclaim their privacy and security in all aspects of their lives. Links to everything I just listed are down below. Definitely check them out as they've helped a ton of people and people seem to love them. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see everyone next time on Tech Lore.